All right, now we're good to go. Nobody was watching, so nobody knows that I flipped up the
Nobody
recording.
Which means I gotta go.
All right, welcome to the Ballistic Missionaries, everybody. That's Dan. I'm Z. We are talking about Wrestlemania weekend, all the fun that was had. We only live streamed Saturday because it was
exhausting.
It was a lot. It was so much, especially because it was like not very good.
No,
Saturday night was not very good, and it was
pretty.
We had to do so much trying to talk and make jokes while there was just crappy going on screen.
Yeah. Rather than crappy. I can watch a crappy movie. I can watch Troll 2 or any kind of B movie and find enough entertaining crap to make fun of. This just had nothing. You're just pointing it with a stick like that meme and just like, do something, please.
Yeah.
There were definite exceptions, and we'll get to that later on. But we definitely want to go and go over things bit by bit and give you our thoughts and evaluations on every single match.
Oh, we're dropping frames again. 35% over the last 2 minutes. Fantastic. Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you, those of us that checked in on us while we were streaming on Saturday.
Yeah. We grew to 4 listeners.
Yeah. Like, wow.
That one guy stuck it all through the end. Whoever you are, mystery guy.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
America salutes you.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, do you want to go straight into WrestleMania, or do you want to talk about our usual opening banter of what stupid thing did the Trump administration do this?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is not necessarily, well, I guess he's a member of the administration, technically, is J.D. Vance, and he killed the Pope.
Yeah, J.D. Vance killed the Pope.
Yeah.
I mean, not like actually, but the Pope died yesterday.
Yeah, let me start off by saying we're not a news network, and we'll try to tell the truth, but occasionally, we'll dump that for a good joke. In this case,
unlike the Babylon Bee.
The broken clock of conservative comedy. Back to point. Happenstance does make an interesting line of humor, and in this one, about a day, 2 days after the Pope saw J.D. Vance.
I don't know what that was.
And kind of backhanded scorned him.
Rebuke is the word that I've used.
Yeah, he died. There's no more.
Hold up. The stream has disconnected. Okay. We'll be back. Hold on. Okay. Oop. Let me fix that. Is super low. All right. Well, sorry about that interruption. The internet went down because, that happens.
Yeah, it happened.
The Pope cursed us because we used his name for a joke. He cursed us in the afterlife, apparently. Destroyed our internet connection for like 2 minutes. But anyway,
sorry, Pope.
Sorry, Pope.
Goes Pope.
We are both really lapsed Catholics, like super lapsed Catholics. But
I'm more of an expired Catholic. I'm now a what do they call it? Agnostic, agnostic atheist.
I'm just an agnostic. But I have a lot of respect for Pope Francis. It only extended so far because he was living, in the Vatican, full of riches and jewels. And I mean, the guy used his considerable platform to speak out for poor and marginalized people. against probably the better wishes of the cardinals and the higher ups at the Vatican. But he did, and I respect him a lot for that. So yeah, this is a big loss. He's got a lot of big shoes to fill. Oh, we're still dropping frames. Okay, but yeah, so.
Oh yeah, Pope Frank is gone, but at least, got one last out on J.D. Vance, who totally deserved it for being the vice presidential asshole that he is.
Oh, I'm actually wearing my anti-Appalachian elegy shirt.
Yeah.
So
he always deserves to be made fun of.
He does. He's terrible.
Even by a man of the piety levels of the now ex-pope, and hopefully we'll get another pope that's someone in the direction of
more Francis, and less the guy before Francis, who was an actual Nazi at one point. He was in the Hitler Youth. He's a Nazi. Nazi light.
I wouldn't call him a Nazi.
Well, he never apologized for it. I'll call him a Nazi.
Okay. But moving on, can we think of any other Trump stuff that's went on?
A Democratic congressperson, I can't remember who, went down to find what's his name?
What did he do?
Garcia in El Salvador in prison. He is alive. What's his name? Vilmar Garcia.
Yeah,
Aguilar Garcia.
I think Maryland.
He is alive. They went out to lunch apparently. The Trump administration says they are never bringing him home. They put out an announcement. They are never bringing him home. So
don't expect him back in a week or two because Trump will just reverse himself.
Yeah, probably. Or, somebody will go down and murder the guy. Something like that. But, a lot of other people have ended up being deported or being whisked away in the dead of night. It's gotten worse. And a lot more people are saying, I know this person. They got abducted. We don't know where they are. It's happening more and more often. And people are being denied due process because of it. Some of whom are here illegally. It shouldn't matter. They should be afforded humanitarian rights, regardless of whether they're here legally or not. Let's see. I should have written this down, but I didn't have time because we were trying to catch up on NXT.
Yeah, we watched a lot of wrestling.
Oh, so much wrestling this weekend.
Yeah.
And then
I guess not related to idiocy in the Trump administration, but Trump adjacent by proxy in the UK. The UK Supreme Court basically voted down civil protections for the trans community. They are not protected against discrimination.
And yep. So all the British TERFs are yucking it up right now.
Including one well-connected, wealthy TERF
who has put a lot of time and money into British politics, and I'm sure this decision had her fingerprints all over it.
Take a picture of her celebrating by sitting at her palatial, I guess,
castle.
She
owns a castle.
It's
full of mold.
Modest castle with a adult beverage and a stogie, and celebrating that trans people do not. They can be basically legally be discriminated against based on who they are.
Yes,
which seems like something that you should celebrate. And obviously, other TERFs in the country have labeled this as our women's spaces are now solely that of, I guess, quote unquote, not to say that I said, but real women.
Oh no, that's the rhetoric. That's the rhetoric that's going around. So I wish them all a very happy yeast infection and a UTI that never goes away, no matter how many antibiotics they take. Fuck you. Okay. There was something else I wanted to talk about. administration, but I can't remember what it was. I did something else
Mhm.
horrible this week.
Just this week?
Well, yeah, it was apart from all the horrible stuff that they've done every other week that I've touched on at the beginning of the show. It's honestly, there's too much sometimes. So we've been watching wrestling all week. We've watched, 8, 9, 10, 11 to 12 hours of wrestling
Yeah.
in the past 3 days.
Not counting the usual Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW.
Yeah.
Stuff on top of that. We're kind of, we'll be watching Raw tonight, but I'm actually glad on Tuesday that I don't have to watch. I love wrestling. Don't get me wrong. I've been a wrestling fan since I was 12 years old. That being said, it's a lot of wrestling to go through.
So much this week.
Between Friday and Monday morning.
Yeah.
It taxes a lot. It's kind of WrestleMania alone feels like I'm watching a fan convention on television.
It kind of does, yeah.
Um,
And it's not always pleasant.
and
The first night was definitely not pleasant.
But I guess we should start off with NXT.
You want to start with NXT?
Yeah, we'll start off with them and work our way up.
Chronologically, it aired Saturday afternoon, but we didn't watch it until today. We finished up like 20 minutes before we had to be on camera. But
Work our way up.
all right. So, because I don't have these.
I thought we didn't. There was a semi-last minute match put together with the D'Angelo family versus what are they called?
Deep State.
Dark State.
Dark State?
Dark State.
Okay, something like that.
That's Dark State. Gotcha, guys.
They've been kind of coming in, pulling the Wyatt Six move. All the lights go out. They come in, jump in the ring, beat people up after matches.
I would say Aces and Eights, and then the other one they had a few years back. I can't remember their names, but Maximum Male Models and a few other guys were involved in that group as well. But they're basically supposed to come around and I guess upset the status quo. But they wrestled in the ring quite well. They were very impressive in the ring, but so far personalities have not erupted from this.
Yeah, it's not so much now.
Mainly, it came out as them being props for the dissolution of the beginning of the dissolution of the D'Angelo family.
Yeah,
and stuff. I know all factions eventually have to break up and have to dissolve and have to go away. I just always this one was kind of sad because I kind of like most.
Yeah, I've been enjoying the D'Angelo family stuff. I liked to have seen Rizzo wrestle more.
Yeah.
I was impressed with what she did against one of the members of the Deep State. She dove on him when he was trying to interview her in the match. It's like, yeah, Riz, great. Let's see you do that more often. That would be great. I would love to see her do that. But yeah, they're nice. They're a nice faction. I like them. I don't usually like, my family is very Italian. You would think that I wouldn't like them. But I appreciate them because they're a good group. There's a lot of talent in there. Especially Tony D. Like when he went up against Obafemi, that was the turning point in my mind for Tony D. Like he gave a hell of a match with Obafemi. Like we were like, oh, this is gonna be a squash match, and man, he held his own. It was impressive, and he has only gotten better since then. I mean, it was actually a really good match. They basically took out Luca about halfway through, and we didn't see him again until the end. But
I think Tony and Rizzo will go and do something. I don't know so much about Stax or definitely Luca Brasi. Like if they do something, he's kind of the what is it, Giovanni of
the Giovanni
Vinci of the group. It's like.
Yeah, he kind of came in last, and he was like had the least amount of effect on the storyline. Despite he was like their lawyer,
consigliere, I think they had him for.
Well, that's weird because the consigliere is like a war leader, and they already had Tony, a war counselor, and they already had the underboss.
Yeah, I think he was supposed to be like consigliere is the way like Robert Duvall was in The Godfather was the consigliere.
Well, yeah, that's what the consigliere is. He's like a war counselor.
Yeah, but also like he was sort of He was also kind of like a lawyer, since he did have like a law degree. And
Oh, look, because Luca Crucifino was a lawyer. Were they kind of basing him off Robert Duvall's character?
I guess very, 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 very loosely.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I mean, it was.
In classical mob terms, the consigliere is not always a lawyer.
Yeah.
It just so happens in these two things.
But I'm sad to see him go.
I don't want to see him go. I don't want to see him go.
I gave the match a solid. I'm gonna give it a 6. It was.
I'm gonna give it a 7, just because. Maybe I'll give it an 8. I don't know. There was some good stuff in it. Riz destroying that dude, that was great to see. There was a great moment in the ring, like a storytelling moment where Stax and Tony, Stax had the crowbar and Stax and Tony hugged each other, gave up the crowbar, and then Tony turned around and he was kind of watching him out of the corner of his eye over his shoulder because you're like, okay, Stax is going to do something and going to hit him with the crowbar. So Stax gives the crowbar to the ref, and Tony kind of like nods, and he kind of moved over to go after the other guy, and Stax took him out. So that was a nice sort of swerve on a swerve, and then a swerve.
Yeah.
But it had like a lot of emotion in it, because it was like, I was on my toes for that one. Yeah, it's hard to tell what's going to happen, but it was good. So I give it a little bit of higher.
Yeah.
Because there was storytelling going on.
There was definitely some decent storytelling, and for the most part, in-ring action was pretty consistent and solid.
I think the only bad parts were, like you said,
I think
the Deep State guys don't have personality.
Yeah.
Who are these guys?
Dark State are some good performers.
Yes, yeah, they are.
They're in-ring performers, but in terms of like individual personalities, other than what I guess like that's seen on NXT with the dossier, I don't know very much. It took a lot away. That took a lot away from me. I was like, okay, they won. It's sort of like, okay, they won. Now what? It was again. I guess it was more of a storyline to set up the dissolution of the Angelo Farah family, but at the same time, it didn't necessarily prop the winners up any.
They still remain pretty anonymous.
They still felt much like props.
It did. You're right. It did feel very much like props for the dissolution of the D'Angelos, or at least the fracturing of them.
Yeah.
But it was good. So, all right.
Let's go with the North American men's match.
Yeah. Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page. Now, when we were here on Monday, we didn't know who Ricky Saints was going to be facing. So Dan actually predicted Ricky Page or Ethan Page. He predicted Ethan Page. I thought it was going to be Wes Lee in the Fatal 4-Way, but I was wrong about that. I gave it a 6. Dan gave it a 7. It was fine. It was technically good.
It's a nice warm-up match for the rest of the card.
That's true.
It was, since Page was determined on Tuesday and on Saturday was the match, you had a little bit of build-up when Saints came in and him bumping into Saints coming in and Page and confronting each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. It was a perfectly serviceable match.
Yeah.
Not much in terms of any technical flaws.
For me, I think it was just that, like, I gave it a 6 just because it's like Ricky Saints, good performer. Ethan Page, like, we've really seen what he can do in NXT, and I don't think either of them were really on their best, to be honest. It wasn't as good as I was hoping it was going to be, to be honest. It was still a very good match. It was serviceable. It was a good intro, like you said.
It's a nice opening bout.
Yeah.
It's definitely opening bout level match.
Yeah.
I watched it. Got me well enough into what they were doing for later on in the card. And then I move on. And then we're going to move on from this match to the match.
For me, that was the lowest ranking match because I gave it a 6. That was by far the lowest.
I gave it a 7.
Like for the rest of the card, it is all up from there for both of us, really. Do you want to go Tag team?
Yeah, let's go with the tag team championship with Fraxium taking on Hank and Tank.
Yes. So Hank and Tank, again, we didn't know this until Tuesday, the day after our pregame episode. But Dan and I both picked Hank and Tank to get into the tag team championships. They were the first in the gauntlet, and they fought. How many other teams? 4 other teams?
I believe it was 4.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, they went up against 4 other teams, and they won the whole thing. All the while having the commentating team continually say, "Oh, they're never going to make it. They're never going to make it. Oh, look at them. They're running out of steam," and just talk shit about them the entire time. And they pulled them out.
I think that was again to get the crowd on their, the people, to get the people at home on their side.
They were talking about them at the Fraxium match too. I mean, they were like, "Oh, I could tag. They're never going to beat Fraxium."
I mean, because again, like earlier, they were building up, like trying to adopt idioms of other teams and losing. So basically, by the time you get to the tag team gauntlets, the storyline built them up as like, oh, they're definitely not going to get through this. But I mean, but it's also the storyline. If you know how, like, I guess how wrestling works.
I know how wrestling works.
I know how wrestling works. You know. If anybody watches wrestling,
like they're playing devil's advocate.
They threw them down to the bottom to have to climb their way back up.
Yeah, and damn, did they do it? And it was awesome.
And the tag team match itself, a little rough to start. Because basically, much like later on down the line with we'll be talking about the New Day versus the War Raiders later on. It was definitely disparate styles. Hank and Tank are kind of a smash mouth large team. Well, and
Fraxium is flippy. They are all about
they're very
speed. I mean, Nathan Frazier is one of the fastest dudes on the entire WWE roster. So there was
not just speed, but finesse as well.
Very much so, yes.
Their moves, and especially their combination moves, are much more in sync than Hank and Tank.
Yeah, Hank and Tank are a little bit more, smash mouth kind of guys, kind of powerhouse. But
they're still coordinated. It's not as pretty to look at as
definitely on the same page though
as Fraxium is.
Yeah.
But again, once it was a couple minutes in, things picked up and everybody was on sync. I think a big team can go against a speedy, high flying finesse team if they're both on the same page. And again, we'll get down the line to another tag team match. It doesn't work out so, but for this one, it worked out well. The story, they built up Hank and Tank well. And not to mention, it's about time we needed another NXT. Fraxium have been the tag champs on and off for the better part of a year. And
it's time to give it to some new blood.
Yeah.
And honestly, I want to see Fraxium go to the main roster.
Yeah,
I think it's time for them to.
I'm seeing them either going to the main roster or breaking them up and going on separate ways in NXT for another year. I think they're ready for like a SmackDown match for probably SmackDown in a row. I would imagine they would send those guys to SmackDown. But that being said, I gave it. What did I give it?
You gave it an 8.
I gave it an 8.
I also gave it an 8. I thought it was good. I thought that. I hate to say this because I have been in the Hank and Tank business since they first started on them. I'm so happy that they won. I'm so happy that they're on this stage now, on this level, and that everybody else is finally realizing what I've been realizing the past few months. I think they're still a little green in a lot of ways. I think that Fraxium could have beaten them pretty easily.
One is a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, and the other one, but they're good. They have so much potential, and it really does seem like they've got other things in mind for Fraxium. And like Dan said, it's time. It's time for them to give up the belts. And I think that Hank and Tank are a good tag team. I think they are ready to have a title run. And of all the other men's tag teams,
I also think the men's tag team division is weak.
It is weak. It is weak. They are the best of outside Fraxium. They could be on the main roster now, but after them, it is Hank and Tank. Hank and Tank as the second best.
There's a lack of, I guess, tag team specialists. I mean, look at the way they faced on Tuesday.
Yes, they're green, but they are the best of
what they've
got. And you know what? They are really good. And they have so much potential, and I can't wait to see it. So, yes.
Where are we?
So we did that one. We did that one.
I believe we're up to the women's.
Really 5?
Yeah, well, 6 counting the D'Angelo thing.
Yes, we covered that.
We're up to the women's
North American Championship. Okay, so
ladder match.
Yes, ladder match. So again, we didn't know the final 2 spots. Turned out that it was Lola Vice, who, God, I can't stand. Lola Vice is like what an old white man with a Latina fetish thinks Latina women are. Yeah, that's her entire personality. And I can punch things.
Yeah,
Ugh.
It's like
I do not like Lola Vice. I find her fucking
there's
annoying.
nothing wrong with like Latina wrestlers. I like a lot of Latina wrestlers.
No. I mean, we're going to be getting to Stephanie Vaquer here pretty soon.
But her gimmick feels 20 years old.
Yeah, like it's like Vince is writing it. Yeah. It's like she should be showing up in like 1985 at the 1985 WrestleMania as like a squash match against like
Wendy
Richter, yeah. And she's like, I'm Latina, and then Wendy Richter just smushes her.
She's not a terrible wrestler either. Like, she's a good one. But again, it's just the personality and gimmick is just like it's so one dimensional. And again, you put it up to somebody like a Stephanie Vaquer, even on SmackDown with what's her name?
Zelina Vega?
Yeah, Zelina Vega.
Zelina Vega, excellent performer. Solid, all-around performer. Or even Elektra Lopez.
Elektra Lopez.
You know what?
Not with the company anymore.
Lola Vice feels like the Elektra Lopez that you get on TVU.
There you go to AEW with Thunder Rosa.
Oh, Thunder Rosa. Oh, she's cool. Yeah. Oh my God, she's cool. Yeah. Like, there are so many great Latina wrestlers out there, and then they're just throwing this one down our throats. And she just, God, I can't stand her.
I have similar feelings towards, I mean, I love Valkyria, but we'll get to that later.
Anyway. Also, on Tuesday, Thea freaking Hale came back! Ah! I love Thea. We love Thea Hale. Oh my God. Not like a huge Chase University fan in general, just Thea freaking Hale, the Coke goddess.
Yes.
She is like, she has so much energy. We always say she's like on just tons of Coke constantly. She found Craig Neidhart's stash from the 80s.
Jim Neidhart?
What I say?
Craig.
Jim Neidhart.
Who's Craig Neidhart? Are you on Thea Hale's stash?
Yes, I stole Thea Hale's stash, and my heart is going to explode anytime now.
Yeah. I'm gonna put some plastic wrap on the front.
But
that's not meant for normal humans.
So happy Thea Hale is back. I really missed her. I like Thea Hale's work. She's fun, and you never know. And she's just like, I think if she tried to stand still, she would just vibrate, or she'd be like one of those characters from like an old video game where she kind of just stands there like this, like she can't do it.
She's a speedster. She would vibrate through the walls.
Yes.
That being said, who else we got in there? So Luke, Izzy Dame,
Zarya, and
Kalani Jordan. Yes.
You know what? I gave this match a 9.5. I thought it kicked ass. It was excellent. Yeah. Everybody did a great job. You know what? I was actually really impressed with Izzy Dame. She's starting to come into her own, you know? Thea was fantastic. She didn't seem to have any ring rust on her.
Yeah,
Kalani Jordan actually got very aggressive, surprisingly.
It's still the personality you gotta work on.
It's true. Yeah.
It's still like a character that needs to be developed. She's every single one of them is a good in-ring performer.
They are.
But in terms of personality, in terms of character development, she's out of that group. She is the absolute.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, she's one
Even more so than I hate to say this, even more so than Lola Vice.
At least Lola Vice has.
Our streamers nothing.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna hold on here. We've disconnected again. Oops. Yeah, reconnect. Come on. The internet is up.
Disconnect in the first place.
Yeah, internet.
Boo! You suck. I know why.
Just. To start streaming. Thank you. Okay. We are back recording apparently. Stream is still giving us problems.
Streaming problems last week. There we go. No.
This is up.
Mm-hmm.
Unless maybe it's on Twitch's end.
Maybe.
No one will be seated for the exciting opening of the email app to see if the internet is working on the phone section. Does not appear to be. Fetching it. Yes, just go live. My God. It's trying to fetch things. Stop trying to make fetch work. It's not going to work. Failed to connect to the streaming server. Okay. Nope. Internet is down again. Okay.
I'd like to take this moment to tell you all that
All right. We are back again. We're having serious internet trouble today. So sorry about that. What were we talking about? Kalani Jordan. Yeah. Dan predicted that Zarya was going to win. I predicted that Solruka was going to win. And you know what? We were both almost right. There was a beautiful storytelling moment. Those of you who don't remember, Zarya and Solruka have been tag team partners for a few months now.
Yes.
And, very kind of disparate styles, but they work real well together, I think. I've been enjoying it.
that look on the ladder between each other would shipped a million wrestling queer fan fictions.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Because they both crawled up to the ladder at the same time, and they stood there, and they looked at each other, and they're like, and Solruka started tearing up, and Zarya took her face in her hands, and it was very sweet. It was beautiful storytelling, and then they beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah. It was
Which was also good storytelling,
It was both good storytelling.
Yeah.
A lot of wrestling queer fan fiction was shipped.
Yes.
At that moment.
The places that launched 1,000 ships.
Yeah, the goth queen and the head of the head of the volleyball team.
Yeah.
They hooked up and
But yeah, no, I mean it was really good. I gave it a 9.5. I thought it was excellent. I had no problems with it. There was a lot of brutality on display. Kalani Jordan whacked her ribs trying to destroy Zarya at one point. Oh, that was painful. No, excellent match.
I gave it an 8. It was mostly strong. I usually say 9s and 10s for stuff that's like I'm going to remember in 3, 4, 5, 10 years or down the line. But it was a solid match. Definitely one of the best on the card. But they got 2 other competitors coming up with our NXT Women's fatal four-way.
Yeah. For the women's championship, Stephanie Becaire, Julia, Jordan Grace, and Jada Parker.
Yes.
We both picked Jordan Grace. We were both wrong.
Yes. Becaire.
Becaire won. She retained.
My theory was that Becaire was bound, like automatically bound for the main roster. This was sort of a training ground for.
Same with Julia.
Yeah,
I thought both of them were going to go.
But I guess with the announcement of AAA, we might be seeing her there at least long enough to do this co-founding or co-run
like
AAA.
transition.
Well, the co-run AAA pay-per-view that's coming up in, was it June or July?
Yeah.
Because my original theory before I heard that it was going to be Grace, because I figured they'll just send Becaire up to the main roster.
Mm-hmm. And they've been pushing Jordan Grace pretty hard.
Parker was there as the sacrificial lamb to get the title on to Jordan Grace.
And sadly, we were right about that. Yeah. Parker was the one that was pinned, though she is great.
She held her own.
Yeah, she absolutely held her own.
Considering all three of those were
so good. She was so strong. Super proud of her, the homegrown girl in the match.
I want to say almost everybody else there has between 8 and 10 years of experience. Yeah. Parker maybe somewhere has maybe 2 or 3 at most.
Maybe 3, yeah. And she was a soccer player before this. Yeah. You know what? She's doing really good.
Yeah, she held her own
absolutely
against people who are considered internationally as some of the best women wrestlers.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? She was so proud of herself for that. Yeah. She did great. I was actually a little disappointed in Jordan Grace. She didn't do as well as I thought she was going to. I mean, she was fine. I was expecting, like, she was here.
More spots.
I was expecting here.
The spots were
close, but you know,
the spots were either between Julia and Becaire or Parker trying to like bust out a breakout star in that. Grace had spots, but if you ask me right now what they were, I would be remiss to point them out. She was fine. She held her own.
She was fine. It was unremarkable.
I can't say it was bad. It just wasn't compared to the other 3.
I don't think there was anything in the match that was bad, straight up bad. But yeah, it was just unremarkable on her front, and I was disappointed. I was hoping for a little more.
From technical, there was not very many botches, or everything was kind of smooth and technically sound.
It was good.
I gave it an 8, and Z also gave it an 8. Good match for the most part.
Yeah, it was great. It was I mean, there were a lot of good matches on that.
I feel it was being built up for what this AAA thing that's coming down the road.
Yeah, probably because she was there at the announcement when they made it on Saturday.
Very storied career with AAA.
Yes.
Other organizations.
She is the love of Mara, of course.
Yeah, it seems like a natural fit for whatever they're going to throw at her.
Absolutely.
She'd probably be one of the linchpins for that.
That would be great.
Then our main event for Stand and Deliver.
Javon Evans, Obafemi, and Trick Williams. Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah, man.
I feel like this is going to be the last hurrah on NXT for at least one of them.
It's not 2.
It's not 2. I'm going Trick Williams for sure.
He's definitely going up to the main roster. Yeah. And you know what? Totally deserved. Yeah. He over the past few years, you know, he went from being like Mello's sidekick and hype man sometimes to just being like a superstar in his own right. Absolutely. And it has been a joy to watch his transformation on his own. And it
doesn't hurt that he has one of the I guess fan-friendly entrance themes.
Yeah. Man, when he goes up to the main roster, it's going to suck because Booker is not there to do the little add-ins.
Yeah. I'm a Booker fan.
Oh, yeah.
I like his announcement. Booker. It makes no sense sometimes, but I'm there for the ride.
He's the king of the non sequitur, but it is hilarious and amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's gonna suck whenever we don't have Booker chanting along with the theme song.
That being said, Javon Evans was the MVP of this match.
My God, that kid. He is like 20.
He threw
21. That kid is fucking amazing.
That kid threw his heart and soul.
Holy shit.
Not saying the other two were not.
No. I mean, Olafemi.
There was no weak link in that match.
Trick Williams, no notes. Javon Evans, he is a newcomer. He was out for a while with his jaw wired shut.
I have wondered, where the fuck do you get off being so goddamn talented?
Right?
Yeah.
Holy crap. No, that kid, oh my God, he is going places. Anywhere in the pro wrestling world he wants, he will get there. Because he is just that good. The fact that he was in a six-way tag match with Trick and Oba, and he was the standout of the three of the three of them on the team, like that is one thing, and then the fact that he did absolutely,
I feel it should be
the two best men on the roster, in my opinion. Oh my God!
I feel that Evans should be at least North American champion within the next year.
I absolutely hope so. He totally deserves it.
Yeah.
And you know what? That is very cool. It is so cool, to see that he. Oh my God, yeah. It was a great match. I gave it a 9.
I also.
It was so good. Yeah, he also gave it a 9.
Also gave it a 9.
He predicted that Oba was going to win, and he was right. Oba won on Javon, which makes sense because, he is the newcomer, and while he is an excellent, excellent performer, he is the green one of the three of them. So it made sense that they were going to book the other two strong.
I mean, at this point, too, like, we're talking earlier about Trick definitely going to the main roster.
Yeah.
Who's left for Oba? Like, I can't think of anybody on the list that, like, I
want to see Oba go to the main roster, too, but now that he has the belt,
I mean, they can always have him drop the belt and go up.
Yeah, I suppose so, but it's unlikely. I mean, there was literally a stipulation last year that anybody who held the belt would not be eligible for the draft. So it just seems weird that, I don't know.
I think that they could change it around this year. Like, there's, again, what's left?
Yeah, who is left on there?
Who's left that he hasn't taken on? I mean, I guess you got guys like Sean Spears, but I mean, that seems like a foregone conclusion that, I mean, if he gets it, I guess he gets it like he got the North American title, where I see that he took it off D'Angelo, and I'm like, okay, he got it off D'Angelo, whatever.
But yeah, like I don't know where they're gonna go from here.
Ricky Sings, he's fine again. I can't think of anybody unless they bring some new blood in.
They could
either through like TNA. Maybe they sign Joe Hendry on. Maybe they get somebody else from there, or somebody else from another organization to come in, or somebody off the independents that could be an overkiller. But like, who are you gonna get? Who are you gonna get that makes it believable at this point? I feel like just retire.
Literally no one. You have all the big guys up on the main roster. Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman, Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Hell, I'd even believe it if they brought back Almost. But it's like, there's nobody his size in NXT. It is not believable. His strength, his ability, his ferocity. Yeah. There's no one believable there. It's like when they took Chyna out of competing in the men's division and put her with like all the tiny little fashion models that literally would fall over if a breeze hit them, and tried to make it believable. It's like, no! She will literally pick you up and shoot you like a spear into the audience. Come on, guys. It's time. Bring them up. So anyway, I gave it an A, all of Stand and Deliver.
I gave it a B+.
I thought there was
a couple of weak things that brought it down for me. And what it was right. I put it B+, but it was right in that B+, A- average for me. There's a couple of things that, like, I think the opening bout was a bit on the weak side.
It was the weakest.
There's bits of the tag match that were,
There's nothing wrong with it. It was just, it was fine. So, I think totally NA was deserved. I enjoyed it.
Gotcha.
I was shocked that Roxanne Perez didn't actually show up. Apparently, she's going to be on tomorrow night if she can find a tag team partner or just go in handicapped.
I guess they were talking about Cora Jade and putting them back together. It's like it's.
Yeah, but they did that and it kind of fizzled out. It really didn't work very well. I don't know, but
it's fine. Like,
we'll see tomorrow.
So
anyway, all right, let's move on to the stinker that was night one of WrestleMania.
I guess we'll start at the bottom.
Even though that was a
we'll start with the opening bout, which was the World Championship with
Jay and Gunter. Yeah,
Jay and Gunter. And these guys are great competitors.
Yeah,
by themselves.
Gunter is a powerhouse. He is like a precision wrestler. Jay is
he's good with crowd work.
He's very good with crowd work. He's a good flippy. He's got a lot of energy. He's good. Not much of a high flyer other than the frog splash, which is still pretty cool. I love the frog splash.
But unfortunately, they contrast and they contrast
in the worst way. Yeah. It did not work. It really didn't work.
And it was
so boring.
And it was accentuated by a terrible finish.
Oh my God. What the fuck was with that finish? Gunter tapped out after like 2 seconds. It's freaking Gunter. Okay? The guy is indestructible. And he, like, oh, did someone mess up? Did they get hurt? Did they have to end it early? What the hell happened? It sucked.
There's a way it could have been done and it wasn't.
Yes.
If you're going to get Jay to get Gunter to succumb to his own hold, it should have been a tap out. It should have been him passing out.
Yes.
Maybe even a bit of color or some blood into it to win.
Yeah, because
make it look like Gunter is so bad off that he passes out.
Because honestly, the way that they've built up Gunter all these years, that guy would not have done that.
He severely weakened his stock.
Oh my God, so much. And then I'm sorry, what was your other point?
Basically, that like I said earlier, like he should have passed out. He should have. They basically should have had it to where Gunter could have walked away strong. Jay gets to go on and still get the title and go off strong.
Yeah.
The way it was, neither guy comes off well out of it. Gunter comes off weak. Jay comes off weak. It's sort of the anti-version of the Austin Bret Hart match where both guys got to walk away strong. Austin passed out after it had to have been 8 to 10 minutes in the sharpshooter and bleeding profusely from his head, and a brutal match. They lost, but he lost well. Bret Hart won the match and won the match well.
Yeah.
And it was a great double turn on top of that. But back to the point, Gunter came out weak. Jay came out weak. And that finisher was an accentuated point on a fairly
boring.
Yeah.
It was boring as hell. It was not a good match. Yeah. I gave it a 4. Dan gave it a 5. I gave it a 4 mostly because I was angry at what they did to Gunter.
Yeah.
And because I was bored out of my mind. But you know what? It was an accurate match to have on night 1 of WrestleMania, which was not good.
Yeah, there are one or two highlights, but it's
pretty low ratings.
Yeah, I think we have 2 that made it above a 5 or 6. But that
So. Let's see, what was next? The Women's Championship?
No, that was way down the card. I guess we should go next with
Jade and Naomi was
next
on the card. That's right. It was fun. It was good. He gave it a 4. I gave it a 5. It was a good match.
But it's not to give me. It wasn't a WrestleMania match. It was something you probably see in Saturday night's main event at best. And it felt like a warm-up match for Jade.
It kind of
at the expense of Naomi,
and
that's why I put it down so low. But
same.
It was not any botches per se. It was technically fine. It was technically serviceable.
Yeah,
but in terms of me being excited for either one coming out, I was not watching AEW when Jade Cargill was there, so I don't have that to go back on. So I'm just judging her entirely by her WWE performances. And so far, I don't understand other than like the look.
Why everybody's going gaga over?
Yeah. Why the amount of money was spent?
On a good day, she's a solid mid carder.
Yeah. She would be a future North American, Intercontinental or U.S. champion, but running either one of the shows as a women's world champion, maybe in a couple of years.
Maybe.
I'm sure WWE sees it differently than I do.
I mean, yeah, I thought it was fine. I gave it a 5 out of 10. Mostly because of Naomi.
I feel like she was if there was anybody carrying it.
She carried it a bit, and it did kind of make her look a little bit weak. I'm sure to most people. It was fine.
Again, we're going to see Naomi after this, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, what?
Because basically,
is she going to stay heel? Is she going to take some time off?
The storyline with Jade has pretty much been done. So what do you do? And Jade is going to be going on to be doing bigger and better things.
I'm assuming she's going to stay a solo act and not going to go back with Bianca.
No, probably not.
I kind of want to see Bianca go heel and join a tag team with
which might happen if we get down. We'll save that for later.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to Rey Fenix.
Yes. Rey Mysterio was in a match on SmackDown on Friday. He got injured, so Rey Fenix took his place in the non-title match with the Latte.
Latte Americano. My second most favorite
the Latte.
At Starbucks.
The whitest luchador ever.
Yes.
Gracias! It was a good match. Rey Fenix.
No, it was
a performer.
It was perfectly fine.
Chad Gable is Chad Gable. He's great.
Everybody was technically sound. Everybody performed well. The finish again is where I got lost.
Yeah. I gave it a 6. He gave it a 7.
I gave it a 7 because the performances were good.
They were good.
But again, the finish, because I feel like this whole gimmick.
The gimmick has run its course. I was hoping that Chad Gable would get unmasked and we would move on from this, but they didn't do that. So it's like, are we going to still have to deal with this for 3 weeks until we get to Backlash?
Possibly longer.
Possibly longer. That's the reason why I gave it such a low grade.
I feel like
it was a fine match. I just think it's a really stupid gimmick.
It's also,
and I'm tired of it.
It also sucks to selling Rey Fenix as hard as you do to give him a loss on the big stage.
Yeah.
That soon.
Yes.
Into his career.
Yeah. To keep a dumbass gimmick going when everybody knows it's Chad Gable.
And also, I feel weakens all of American Made too, because I feel like everybody on that team should at some point there should be like a sweep of them, like the Creed brothers being the tag champions.
Yeah.
At least
Chad Gable's antics are kind of bringing down the entire faction.
Well, I don't blame Gable. He's just taking the storyline and running with it.
Oh well, no, I'm sure.
I feel the character of El Grande Americano has run its course. It would have been good for a good 1 month run, but it's now going to go longer. I'm not with it.
I think the fact that Chad Gable became a heel and he's doing all this dumb shit, I think it is reflecting poorly on American Made because, they are heels now. They've been losing a lot when they're even in matches. And to be honest, the Creed brothers should be getting a shot at a tag team match. And Ivy Nile should be getting a shot at a title match also.
I feel like she's ready for, I would say,
lower
IC or US title.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely she is. She could hold it off. She could hold it with aplomb. She would be great with it. But I feel like because of the turn and everything that they have to be booked weak because now they're heels and they're the butt of,
I feel like American Made is also reflective of WWE's writing of factions in general.
Yeah.
I can't think of a strong faction at this point. At least on the main two rosters.
Not anymore.
No.
Look at what they did to Judgment Day. I mean, Judgment Day was feared.
Yeah. I feel like you're 2020 to 2022. For me, the peak was when you had that bit where the Bloodline and Judgment Day all lined up with each other.
Yeah,
and faced each other down the ring. And I felt that's where factions were strong. I think it's been down ever since.
It was sort of like breaking up the Judgment Day, the way they did, removing Priest and Rhea, was kind of the beginning to the end across the board for factions. Because
I feel like Judgment Day is in that spot where around 99 or 2000 with like the remnants of DX or the Nation of Domination. And now the other one's Latino World Order is kind of got a Phantasma. Karen Cross's
lost members. Basically, they're gone.
They're dead and buried. The White Six, I guess. I wish.
Who the hell knows? Yeah, who knows? I don't. I mean, are they still employed there?
Yes, as far as I know, they're still there. I hear something about a repackaging with Alexa Bliss. That would
be great.
Again, that being said,
like I like Dexter Lumis. I'm glad that he found a home. I like Gacy. I can't think of his name. I'm glad that he found a home.
Gacy.
Yeah. No, not John Gacy, the guy that used to be in the faction with him. I liked him. I liked that. I just was hoping that they would have literally anything to do. Like they would be able to, come out and make an impact on
again.
And they're just they're buried.
Again, the finish made everybody look weak. Just like your opening world title bout.
Yeah.
But unlike the opening world title bout, the performance was good up until that point.
It was good, yeah. Two real strong competitors. They did a good job.
I think let's move on with the World Tag Championship with the War Raiders versus the New Day.
I didn't like it.
It was a big match of week sauce.
I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 5 because it was.
Oh, actually, I missed that one. I thought the War Raiders were going to win. New Day won. Dan got that one as usual. He's really good. He's got like a sixth sense when it comes to predicting what they're going to do in WWE. I do not. Honestly, I got to be honest with you. I don't remember much of the match. That's how little of an impression it made on me. But apparently, I didn't like it because I gave it a 3. I was unimpressed, I guess.
It was a functional match. That is the best thing I can say for this. It was a functional match that pushed the storyline, and I mean push it literally pushed it hard.
Yeah.
With no real feelings to it.
It really did feel like
it would have helped if they handled the whole New Day storyline better.
Yeah, it's been kind of a mess.
Not to mention the War Raiders, they became tag champions, and then literally, I think it's also reflective of Raw's tag team division in general, which is kind of weak compared to SmackDown.
Always, yeah. Well, actually, yeah. They are very weak. Not good.
So all in all, it was reflective of the tag division in general.
Yeah.
Hopefully, this will be an opportunity to actually develop the New Day. If not, have them be transitional champions and get it on somebody who will carry the tag division, and build up a Raw tag division. With the advent of the draft coming up, probably.
You guys, there are people there. There are great tag teams there.
Not in Raw, but
I mean, in the company.
Well, I guess we got
Crack Team's coming up apparently.
And I guess you could have something with American Made with the Creed brothers. The Creed brothers,
they're great. They're excellent performers.
But not again. They're basically just prop. All 3 of the other members are just props for Chad Gable, rather than an actual faction. All right, send them out to deal with the tag, them out to deal with the women's division. Have Gable compete in an Intercontinental title contender. That's how, to me, that would work. But again, they're not handling it very well. The tag division on SmackDown is great. The tag division on Raw is not. You should have at least a minimum of 4 to 6, preferably 6 good tag teams to have a healthy tag team division. So your
And I felt like there aren't good tag teams in the country.
your champions and your number one contenders battling for the belt, the number 2 and number 3 guys battling out who's going to go next, and your guys falling down the ranks and somebody who just came onto the roster going at it in order to prop those new guys up. That to me is a healthy tag team division. It's definitely not reflective of the way things are now. It was a weak match. It was not technically bad, but in terms of storyline and chemistry, it was lacking. But not as lacking as our next match.
Do you want to do that one, or do you want to do that one last?
I'm saying we're going to do that one next.
Let's do the U.S. Championship.
All right, we'll do that.
LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. I gave it an 8.5. Dan gave it an 8. It was a great match.
It was.
I'm a big fan of Jacob Fatu. I am glad that he now has a title run. He won the title. Yeah, I was pretty excited.
For me, I find it interesting for the lack of story leading into the match.
Yeah,
the match itself was great. I was totally propped up by the personality and the aura of the two competitors.
Most definitely.
By the two people in there, by LA Knight and Jacob Fatu. They definitely had some chemistry going on. It was good. It was a good, solid match, technically.
It was very
good. The finish
good, yes.
was good. Fatu came out strong,
absolutely,
but not at the expense of Knight.
Yes, they both remained real strong.
Fatu gets to go out as U.S. champion and go out that way, but Knight had at least a strong enough contender to say, like, down the line with Money in the Bank, or even maybe one last reign with the U.S. championship. I would like to see Knight go out for either one of the two world titles at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. He should.
He's not getting any younger. He's either at 40 or pushing 40. So you kind of have to have, at this point, him going out for something. He's going to have to do it now.
Yeah, that would be great to see. Oh, stream is disconnected again. All right, we're going to pause the recording and try to get this worked out. Okay, we're back. Minor hiccup there, but all right. We were just finishing up Knight versus Fatu. Great match. Really
gave it an 8. Sue gave it an 8.5. Definitely a contender for it was definitely one of the 2 high points for Night 1.
Absolutely, it was.
NFC of either mediocre
honestly,
or bad.
That was the highest point for me on Night 1.
But now we're getting from there, from the high point, the shit bowl.
It was so bad. Oh my god. I don't even want to talk about it because I feel like I was just screaming at the camera on our live stream. Oh my god. So Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. Tiffany Stratton retained. She looked like a badass at the end. She had a chipped tooth. She had a bunch of bruises and some blood on her face.
Scratches.
But God, it was a pain in the ass to get through. Yeah. Charlotte, as usual, was no-selling the entire thing. She didn't want to give an inch to Tiffany. So eventually Tiffany did the same back. And, like, on a personal level, I get that. If Charlotte was no-selling me, I would do the exact same thing and give her a receipt right in the ass. But as someone watching the match, it's going to be bad. And it was.
It was an uncoordinated mess.
It was.
It was the bare level of competence.
Yeah.
Without it going to just... It was on the borderline of amateurish. Like
it was. It felt very amateurish. It felt like we were watching like a local indie promotion or something.
I think that's an insult to indie promotion. I felt like I was watching a train. I felt like it was a training spar at the Performance Center.
It really did feel like that. It was horrible.
Without the benefit of having somebody there to train them.
Yeah.
And it was difficult to watch.
It was such a slog to get through. It sucks knowing that when Charlotte wants to give
a great match. She can give a great match.
Yes.
She did it with Rhea Ripley.
She just
did it
doesn't.
with Asuka. She did it with Sasha Banks. She did it.
She feels like she doesn't have to. And it's like, bitch, do your job. Do your fucking job.
She's not doing. I can't say she went into business for herself. She didn't go into business for herself because she didn't make. And she would have made herself look good, but she didn't even make.
No, she didn't
even accomplish that. And you don't make yourself look good by making the other person look horrific. And
no, and she definitely did that. It was she made herself look bad. She made Tiffany look bad. She could have been the bigger person here since Stratton was going to win, and given a good match, but of course not. Of course not. Charlotte is going to throw a fit, and she's going to politic, and she's going to do what the fuck she wants to do to the detriment of the entire goddamn company.
Stratton, being of a young age and not experienced enough, couldn't compensate for.
Yeah, I feel that too.
Charlotte's lack of
professionalism.
Yeah.
I'll say it.
I felt bad for her because I think somebody that had like 10 or 12 years experience could have compensated, but her being 2-3 years into the business, didn't have the wherewithal to figure that out. Again,
it's hard, like when you're not used to, like I've never wrestled, but I've been on. Oh, the stream went down again. Okay. Nope, it came back up. Another hiccup. All right. Like, I never wrestled, but I've been on stage, and, when you're pretty green, like, say you're in a play or a musical or something, and you're with somebody who's giving you nothing, it's like, it comes off as stiff and awkward. If you know what you're doing, if you're comfortable, you can overcome that, because you know what it takes to give a good performance around somebody else, if you have to do it. And, yeah, Tiffany is not there yet. This was, I mean, she is incredible, but she's very, very green. I would even say she's green. Because she knows all the tricks, but she doesn't have.
It's a lack of
experience. She doesn't have experience. Yeah. In dealing with people's bullshit.
She's not at that point.
Unprofessional bullshit like this.
Yeah.
And I feel like she shouldn't have to, but that's life. Sometimes you got to deal with the Charlotte Flairs of the world who are going to be just bitches.
Our scores are basically
2 because I was mad.
I gave it a 3
because I fucking hate Charlotte Flair.
I gave it a 3 because it at least fit the absolute bare minimum level of serviceable for me. Like, had that had gone any lower, it would have been a double no sell from both of them, and just having them sitting. Basically, it would have just been them sitting in the corner doing nothing.
You pin. No, you pin.
No, yeah.
No.
It would have been a 10-minute bitch fest for the both of them until somebody decided to lay down and was here pin me. It would have been, I guess, like the figure poke of death or figure poke of doom or Jarrett and Hogan in 2000. Would have been on that level if it had been any lower. I gave it a 3 because that's, I guess, me being as generous as I possibly could with that match.
You were being way too nice. I gave it a 2 basically for Stratton, not because I was proud that she didn't take Tiffany or didn't take Charlotte's bullshit laying down.
Stratton finished.
It was terrible.
I gave it a 3 because Stratton finished the match.
I mean, yeah, it was terrible to watch, but that's why I gave it a 3.
Stratton played 2, basically.
She did. She did the best she could.
Let's go we go to the other highlight of night 1.
Yes, please. I don't even want to think about that match. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk was really a match for Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman was the heart of that match. It was really good. I gave it a 7.5, but honestly, looking back, I probably would have given it a bit higher. I was just honestly kind of disgusted from the rest of the night, but it was good.
It's bad when the rest of the night manages to drag the main event down. I think we might have had a higher opinion of the main event if the entire undercard, almost the entire undercard, hadn't dragged it all down. And I can't say all of it is like the fault of the wrestlers or whatever, but it's
No, but there was a lot of bad in there.
a lot of it I threw on creative. That being said, it was a strong triple threat. It was
Excellent.
brought in by good storytelling leading into the match.
Yes, and all the time that they took building up that story, and hinging it on this history that both CM Punk and Roman Reigns had with Paul Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
Beautifully done. Really, really wonderful storytelling there. And Heyman won the match for me. That's why I kind of want to give it a higher than 7.5. Hindsight, it was better than that.
It was a strong match. Heyman did, and again, it kind of went the way that I thought it was going to go.
Yeah, you got it right. You picked Rollins. I picked Punk. I was off. I made myself a little like Mr. Yuck frowny face with Punk because I didn't want him to win. Because
I thought Heyman was going to do a double turn right at the point where Rollins said you owed me a favor, and
I didn't think about that.
Also, the point that it was basically Punk and Reigns stretching their
Influence,
stretching their friendship to its absolute breaking point with Heyman, to the point where Heyman just said, fuck it, and ran off with Rollins. Again, it made sense story wise.
It did. It was great.
And that's why I picked Rollins, and I thought it was it was definitely the strong main event with a mid to weak undercard.
Very weak.
Almost the entire way through.
Night one was not an enjoyable night. We should not have picked that to do the live stream. We should have waited until night.
There was one mid match, one excellent match, and then the main event was good, and the rest of it ranged between serviceable soul and suck. But now we get to move on to night two.
Night two of WrestleMania,
which was
much better. I gave it like 2 9s and a 10, man.
I guess we'll go with the opening bout, which was the Women's Championship Triple Threat.
And seriously, it burns me up that they didn't have better billing. I mean, it's like, I know they like to come out with something strong. That should have been the main event.
Yeah.
Flat out. That should have been the main event of WrestleMania Night 2. That should have been the match they went out on instead of starting on.
I find it interesting.
It was excellent.
This was a flip of the of night one, where the undercard was really good, but the main event was severely lacking for several reasons. And we'll get to that later. But we're going to focus on Io Ripley and
We both picked Io to win. We were kind of hoping that she would retain.
Especially from the way the story was handled.
Yes.
Where basically, I feel that Io was inserted into that Daniel Bryan-esque underdog role. Not necessarily from the establishment, like the authority was trying to bring Io down, but the other two players did not label her as a serious threat.
Yeah. And let's be honest, she hasn't really been booked as a serious threat. Yeah. And either of her title runs, she's kind of been an afterthought in a lot of ways.
This is the way to book Io strong.
Yeah.
And they did. It was handled well, and
it was wonderful.
It was technically sound. The storytelling was done well. You have a few little boxes, and if they didn't factor into.
And you also have probably the 3 strongest women's performers in the entire company, and from both a performance and a storytelling ability point of view, that came together. And they knocked it out of the park. It was a phenomenal match.
But also, is this the beginning of a Belair turn too?
That's a good question. Yes, it is a good question. I don't know.
But is this be a reaction to the crowd? Again, I'm not sure why it caused the crowd.
Vegas has been like booing the shit out of her. Fuck you, Las Vegas. Don't you boo my girl Bianca.
It's weird, like who they've been picking, like that.
I don't know. Booing Cody Rhodes and cheering John Cena. It's like, guys, are you dumb or what? I don't know.
Again, it was definitely, to me, the longest match on the card.
Absolutely.
Our predictors of Io coming out and retaining the title were both correct.
Yes.
And we both gave it a 10. It was a solid match. As he says, no notes for any of them.
No notes. Awesome match.
I would say out of them and NXT, it's like I would put them up there with the triple threat main event on NXT as being strong and pushed. Everybody came out looking good.
Yes.
Let's follow up that next with. Let's go with Orton versus Hendry.
That was a nice surprise. Dan thought it was going to be Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, first it was Sikoa, and then I
thought it was going to be Nick Aldis.
Yeah.
You know what? It's always a joy to see Hendry whenever he shows up on NXT or on the main roster.
I just felt bad. He was kind of booked weak, and I think as the match was so short, the match was booked weak.
Like it was going to be booked as a squash match. Yeah. That was inevitable, but I think that Joe Hendry held his own and did a good job, despite the fact that he was going to be squashed. But I do agree with you that I wished they had given him like a normal match. Like if they're going to bring him into WrestleMania, I wish that it would have been something where you could really, where it wasn't just a foregone conclusion. That
I wish he had been as a credible threat.
Absolutely.
I wish they handled that the way they handled Javon Evans on NXT.
Yes.
You were literally moments where Evans, you felt like maybe you'll do this.
Yeah.
Like, maybe this will happen.
I think Joe Hendry would deserve that because he is a long running TNA.
Even if it wasn't going to happen,
a crowd favorite. You know, like.
Even if it wasn't going to happen, I feel like give it a moment or two where they think, oh, maybe this will be an upset.
Yeah. That would have been nice.
I gave it a 5.
I gave it a 6. Yeah. It was, what you expected. I was just happy that Joe Hendry was there, and it was fun. And I liked Randy Orton's little, holding him up and shaking his hand and then giving him, it's Randy Orton. He's going to give him an RKO. But I thought it was a nice professional thing to welcome him to the big stage, It was good. It was fine.
Next, we're going to get to, your favorite guy,
Logan Paul. I fucking hate Logan Paul.
I think what killed us first is the fact that you knew Logan Paul was going over. This is a foregone conclusion. Logan Paul for us both is the hardest sell for us. Like
he's just a piece of shit in real life. He's a fucking piece of shit. He's a goddamn tourist who bought his way into the company with sponsorships and gets to come in and do whatever the fuck he wants whenever the fuck he wants. And I can't stand that bullshit.
Like the commentary crew was all trying to sell me into.
No. I put a -10 to the commentary team because they had their heads up Logan Paul's ass the entire time, talking about, oh my God, he's so good. Oh, he's so good. The heel commentators and the face commentators were agreeing. They were in total agreement that Logan Paul was the best fucking thing to ever happen to wrestling. And just... fuck you guys. Oh my God, Michael Cole, you have integrity. What is wrong with you? Did you get in trouble for making fun of him? What? And this is your punishment?
Wait, I thought for a moment it was going to go. It's like he said all the grievances I think a lot of fans are saying about Logan Paul, and then he swerved.
Yeah, and then he was on board with
him. Commentator, but I mean at the same time,
But the thing is, all of the commentators, even Brain Dead Pat McAfee, was like, "Oh my God, this guy's so good. He's the future of wrestling." Blah.
No, he's not.
And it's
he's not the future of wrestling.
Yeah, you picked Logan Paul to win. I picked AJ Styles. I was hoping that AJ would squash him, but I should have known better.
I hate that.
So I gave it a 4. Just for Logan Paul, or I gave it a -3 just for Logan Paul. I gave it a +4 just for AJ Styles because God, these two are so much better. and he can do, he did his best to put this idiot over. And I like the little storyline bit with Karrion Kross still trying to win Styles over to the side by giving him the brass knuckles, and then AJ put him on and he punched Karrion Kross with them. That was an interesting little storytelling tidbit.
That bit of storytelling was fine.
Yeah.
And I guess it might lead to either an AJ heel turn or Karrion Kross AJ feud going down the line. Fine.
Yeah, great.
But let's be honest. Most likely, Logan Paul is going to disappear until at least Money in the Bank at this point.
And then he's going to come back. Oh, I'm the greatest. Look at me. Oh, my God. Go ahead and suck my fucking ass, commentary team. You're going to, because I'm a sponsor of the event with Prime. And, it's a fucked up situation. Genuinely fucked up situation.
It wasn't as, I'll say, the best thing it was not as bad as the Stratton Flair match.
No, that was because of AJ Styles. But, okay, so Logan Paul, I do not want to say this, but he's not the worst wrestler.
He can perform competently.
Yes, that's fair.
But let's be honest, it's all high spots. Basically,
he doesn't really have a lot of...
His chain wrestling is
all style and no substance.
Yes.
And
it's all there to make him look good.
That's literally why he's there, to make himself look good. That's why he's doing all of this.
You held one championship and you barely defended it, so how am I supposed to be?
And then he hasn't been in the company for 6 months, and now he's back. Oh no, he's the greatest, and now he's gone. Okay.
So for me,
I just hate the whole situation.
Yeah, so I guess for us that was the absolute weak point of night 2.
Yeah, like I said, I gave AJ Styles a 4. AJ Styles got the 4.
Yeah. Logan
Paul did not.
Yeah. I guess let's go next to the Street Fight, because that turned out pretty well.
That was a great match. Priest, McIntyre, 2 excellent workers, 2 big powerhouse guys. How could it go wrong? They were, and okay, just, oh my God, Drew McIntyre grabbing his brother's phone to take a selfie of himself in front of Damian Priest laying on the ground, and then posted it saying, "Bored at work again," to Twitter. Like, the man is hilarious. Oh my God.
In terms of a trollish promotion machine that understands how social media works, McIntyre is basically one of their WWE's best assets.
He has found money for their marketing. He is so good.
I don't think he gets enough credit for that.
Absolutely not. He gets booed. He gets people chanting. When he comes out. He is great. He is excellent on the mic. He is a fantastic troll. Like, he is a good heel.
Yeah.
I would even say he's kind of a gray heel. But it's just, he does not get enough love. He really doesn't. And Damian Priest, ever since he left Judgment Day, he's been a little weak. Also, excellent performer. Really, really good performer. Also good on the mic. How could it not be a great match?
Overall, great matches, great spots, solid storytelling despite lack of build-up for it.
I mean, it's like there's been a little bit of build-up with Damian Priest, kind of stopping his title runs, I guess. Even though CM Punk was kind of responsible for some of that, it's a little bit like they didn't want to keep doing Drew versus CM Punk, and they needed to move CM Punk over, so they kind of substituted Priest in for it. But Priest has been carrying it really well, I think. I think it's been a little bit, it's just kind of been here and there. Oh, like, this is still going on, by the way, But, like, all of their matches have been really good. This one was no exception. You said you heard that a lot of people didn't like it online.
Apparently they thought it was kind of sluggish and didn't go anywhere. I think a lot of it had to do with it was not really that hyped on the card in comparison to other matches.
Yeah, it's true. And they did have kind of the weaker storyline going in.
There's a weaker build-up in most of the other a lot of the other matches. So I don't think a lot of people were invested in it the way that other matches were. So I think that might have taken away. I guess for me, that's why maybe it didn't get like a 9 or a 10. For me, but all in all, I thought it was a good match for what it was. It was like the second match on the card, and that was a good follow up. Where it could have been, it could have been weak in comparison to the match that preceded with the Triple Crown.
It kept carrying. Yep, it kept carrying that weight, that momentum. Yeah, it was good. We both thought that Damian Priest was going to win, but Drew McIntyre won. I think this was the first one in their series of matches that he's won. That was great.
I guess we're going to move on now to the IC match.
That was Braun Breaker, who was the title holder, Dominic Mysterio, Penta, and Finn Balor. So there's been some issues with the Judgment Day, as I'm sure all of you know. Sort of been hinting at a breakup, I guess. Yeah, this was another great match. Really excellent 4-way match. I was surprised by the ending. Dan got it. He predicted that Dom was going to win. I thought they were going to push Penta and give him the title run. But I gave it a 9, too. I thought it was an excellent match. I kind of, you know what? I'm actually kind of really happy that Dom won. He was kind of the one I was rooting for. I wanted to see him get a title. I thought they were going to push Penta. Penta also excellent performer so far, but yeah, I'm glad that they're giving Dom a push. Genuinely,
I picked Dom. He seemed the most logical in the idea that you have Jacob Fatu winning the U.S. belt, and I feel like Breaker at this point isn't doing that much on Raw. I feel like if you send him over to SmackDown and to go after the U.S. belt with against Jacob Fatu, or possibly even be involved in say Money in the Bank a month or two down the line, I think that's a better usage of it. I think like you could line the U.S. title scene with monsters like him, or maybe him and Oba and a couple other people to be serious threats against Jacob Fatu. But then that leaves Balor, Penta, and Dom. Balor,
he's been there his long time. He's had his own title reigns.
I feel like he's done,
and he's kind of just been not around much. You know,
I feel like they
not really wrestling much.
I also feel like you have the dissolution of the Judgment Day at hand. Not necessarily the dissolution, but at least
the beginning of a huge fracture.
Balor being kicked out.
I think they're going to kick Balor out.
Yeah.
Now that JD McDonough is not here,
the power dynamic is in Dom, and Dom lives, and Raquel's hands with.
And Carlito, I guess he's kind of there.
I feel like everybody's more on Dom's camp than Finn's camp.
Yeah.
So Balor getting kicked out. All the rest of them are like, I think I have like exception of Carlito, like people in their 20s. They're of the younger breed, where Balor is. I'm not saying he's past his prime. He still wrestles well, but I feel like he's the odd man out with Judgment Day.
Yeah, it really does feel like that.
He's certainly not.
Now that the leader, the two other heavy hitters are gone, in Rhea and Damian, he does feel very out of place.
He was never the leader anyway.
Not really. Yeah.
Edge was the original leader.
And then Rhea.
It was like a combination of Rhea and Damian.
To a point. The lesser leader.
I always felt of them as co-captains.
Yeah.
But, and then I guess was the de facto leader of Judgment Day. He really wasn't.
He didn't really lead. They just kind of were going off in different, directions.
Finn and JD were in one direction, and then Dom
were in another one direction. Carlito was just kind of there
for the ride.
Still just kind of there.
Yeah, kind of there. He's just there to play video games and free snacks. That being said,
he's got apples in his rider.
I'm glad to see this result. It was a solid match.
Yes, I am too. It was a great 4-way match. It was excellent. If you can watch it.
I think it's a way of rewarding Dom for paying his dues for the last
Absolutely.
2-3 years.
And you know what? You have to give Dom, I give Dom so much credit. Like, he has been, the past couple of years, he has carried so much heat from the audience, and he has carried it well, and he continued to improve. I remember when the Judgment Day first formed and he became part of it, I used to make jokes that, what's Dominic's favorite wrestling move? Curling up in a corner and going. But you know what? He has improved by leaps and bounds. And you got to give the guy credit for not only doing that, but doing that while everyone hated him in the audience at a, what is he, like 30?
That was 20s.
Okay, yeah, at a fairly young age, just all credit to Dom, and I am glad that he finally is holding a belt. I think it is absolutely time.
I think it also sets it up for Penta to chase for the IC belt.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great to see.
There might be a little thing with Finn, but I think that'll fizzle out quickly.
Yeah, probably.
And I feel like it's going to eventually be a Dom Penta chase for the belt that might even lead to Money in the Bank or SummerSlam or something like that.
I think that would be good matches. Yeah.
So we got 2 matches left that we haven't talked about.
3.
All right.
You want to talk about the return of Becky Lynch?
Yeah.
It was fine. So apparently they gave us one line of explanation. Oh, Bayley got hurt. Who's going to be Lyra's partner? And Dan goes immediately, it's Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is coming back. And I was like, well, I thought she retired. I feel like a fool. You were right. You called it. You're really good at that. But it was fun.
I followed again the things I don't care about.
Yeah, it was. You gave it a 6. I gave it a 5, mostly for Raquel Rodriguez, who she shone so brightly during that match. I don't really like Liv Morgan that much. I find her to be pretty. What's the word I'm looking for here? Stagnated. She never really got better. She's just kind of blah.
Improved somewhat. They wrestled as a solid team.
They did. They looked really good together. And when Raquel was in there on her own, she looked amazing. I've been following Raquel Rodriguez since she was in NXT. When she came up, she was in a tag team with Aaliyah. And she held a solo title in NXT, at least one. And then ever since she's come to the main roster, she's been relegated to one tag team after another. And granted, she and Liv Morgan work really well together. But I think based on her very solid performance last night, I think she should get a solo run for a while. I think she can handle it. She has
secondary titles at this point that I feel like she at least is qualified as a
whole. Definitely. Yeah, I think it is definitely time for her.
Let's be honest. This whole the thing that kind of disappoints me the most is I feel like the women's tag title, which has usually been used as a prop for singles
wrestlers,
is more than likely going to be used as a singles feud to get the women's IC belt onto Becky Lynch.
Probably.
So she can. I guess without having 2 secondary titles, the definition of Grand Slam champion is probably going to change if it hasn't already changed.
I didn't think about that.
Right now, nobody, if you include those as qualifiers to be a Grand Slam champion, then that means that there are no Grand Slam women's champions.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of Triple Crown winners.
Yeah. I mean, you have Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky, who are all
a couple others, but
Asuka. Yeah.
But as of right now, there
are none.
One person that's held the women's U.S. title, and one person that's held the women's Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
And so I think at this point,
I bet that's why Becky came back.
Yeah, I can see
it's the reason why she came back to go to NXT to take the title away from there, so she could be the Grand Slam champion, and now. I think that, yeah.
It might be impossible, which sounds like ego, but let's...
It is. Come on.
I mean, Becky does more than Charlotte. Charlotte's a better.
No. I would not compare Becky Lynch to Charlotte because Becky Lynch is good at what she does, and she gives back to the wrestling community and tries to build up younger wrestlers, and she is far more giving than Charlotte, and much better worker. No shade against her, but I don't know. I was not super happy at that match just because I hate it whenever they just stick people together. And they put them in front of, they stick people together in a tag team and put them in front of other tag team, like actual tag team wrestlers. And then they put belts on them. And it's like, there are excellent tag team wrestlers, women's tag team wrestlers in all of WWE. There are excellent ones that got pushed to the side so that these belts could go on two singles wrestlers. And that really annoys me. I don't like that. I would have loved to have seen Kane and Katana get this, but sure.
I guess the new one that Chelsea Green's.
The Secret Perverts?
The Secret Perverts.
Whatever they are.
Basically, anybody on that gauntlet match was a better choice than
Lyra and Bayley.
Yeah.
Not that they aren't good performers, but it's just there are actual tag teams out there that deserve to have the spotlight that was handed to two singles performers to push a storyline.
I'm an enjoyer of tag team wrestling. I think I think some of it is based on the era that I grew up, which was the 1980s. Out over in WWE, I guess at the time WWF, you had like Survivor Series 88 and 89 basically had an all tag team Survivor Series matches. And you had both of those. You said all those tag teams, and you basically said like any one of those people could hold the belt, at least as a transitional tag team for a week to a month. Any one of them in 88, any one of them 89. That's how strong it was. Tag team wrestling was in WWE in the late 80s, early 90s. And the same thing could be said for NWA, WCW. We had like the Road Warriors, the Midnight Express, the Four Horsemen, other teams that came in like the Fantastics, the Rock and Roll Express, just tons and tons of great tag teams in WWE and NWA, WCW. AWA, World Class, USWA, just tons of them, and like producing great tag team wrestling. And women's tag wrestling is even weaker at that time as it is.
Because you had the bombshells,
the jumping bomb angels,
and then
the glamour
girls.
And that was basically
they were the only ones that were on. Yeah.
And then went away. I'm not, like I said, I feel that Katana and Chance and Pure Fusion Collective and a few other teams prove that you can have a women's tag team division. Furthermore, I feel there should be a reinstatement of the women's NXT tag title.
I mean, not even that, but like, Naomi and Bianca, excellent tag team. I was really hoping they were going to keep that going. But they didn't. Anyway, sorry, that was pointless, but I just want to throw it out there because I really, really loved them as a tag team.
But anyway, I gave it a 6 because it wasn't necessarily technically bad, but
it was fine.
I could tell where it's going, and I didn't like the direction that was going in.
Same. I don't like actual tag teams being pushed over for non-tag teams.
The women's tag championship being used as a prop for singles.
Absolutely. There's enough there's enough problems with women's tag team as it is because there is only one title. They don't even have one in NXT anymore. I think that was a mistake. Anyway, so let's get to the main event.
The nothing burger that was Cody Rhodes versus John Cena.
Yep. I gave it a 4.
I gave it a 6, and that
I was bored.
Yeah, that they
and then Scott came out and
Again,
it
this
was
is the third,
idiotic.
the third or fourth match in WrestleMania over both nights that the finish was at best questionable.
And at worst, fucking dumb.
Yeah. Travis Scott had the set a land speed record for the slowest running I've ever seen in my life. My near 30 years of watching professional wrestling from 1988. It was the opposite of the Ultimate Warrior at SummerSlam 1988.
When he was cooked up.
Yeah, running at like Mach 4. Which I just like. It took him, I want to say, a good 3 to 5 minutes to get to the ring, minimally.
I honestly,
Possibly longer.
I was planting things at the time. I was kind of watching. I was really bored with the match, so I didn't even see the end. And honestly, I don't feel like I missed anything because I thought it was pretty stupid.
Yeah.
Like again, I don't really remember much from the match. I watched it. I was planting at the time also, and it's just I don't know. I gave it a 4 until Travis Scott came out, and then just.
I also feel Cena's whole approach to heeldom, I guess.
Being whiny, kind of.
It's not even.
Oh my god! Everybody hates me. Everybody, no, I hate everybody. Oh my god! I've been performing for all of you people.
Whiny doesn't quite describe it to me. I would say. Apathetic and nihilistic. His character is like disillusioned with the business, and I guess that would work on like. I guess it sort of feels like CM Punk in 2011 without the enthusiasm, like as at least when Punk is like, I used to love wrestling and now it's not this, but like Cena's just like, I hate wrestling, I always hate it.
I hate you.
I'm just gonna take this to hurt you, like.
Yeah.
It feels like a jilted ex-lover, I guess, at some point. Like he just has like no positive feelings left for you, so he's just gonna. I'm gonna make your life miserable.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm not sure I'm invested in the whole Cena thing. I don't see what's going, and I don't care.
I remember when we were watching. This is the Rumble, right? No, Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
When this whole thing started, and I was just like, I remember screaming at the TV, Jesus Christ, this is stupid. My opinion on that has not changed.
The fact that The Rock wasn't involved at all.
Yeah, where the hell was The Rock at? Like, this was his crap that he put in motion.
Like, he kind of just pulled the pinball and he walked away.
Yeah. It's very weird that, nobody has seen The Rock during all of the build-up to WrestleMania.
Ever, like, it was basically an Elimination Chamber, and then he walked out, and like,
it just feels really pointless. Honestly, the entire thing, like they just did it to do it. It feels like it has no real reason to exist.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's kind of why I gave it a 4. I just don't care.
Yeah.
Genuinely don't care. It wasn't that great of a match. Cody Rhodes, obviously, great performer. John Cena, I've never really been impressed with, to be perfectly honest. Like
his U.S. title runs, basically for me, were like the peak of his career. If you ever get a chance to go back and watch stuff where he was did like a U.S. Open Challenge, and he brought in people like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and I guess a few other people would come in from like NXT or from other parts. Would get a chance to go up against him and. He would defend the U.S. belt that way, and I'm like, I'm a fan of like that, but otherwise, I want to say I almost by like 2010 or 11, I was ready to walk out on wrestling because of, or at least WWE. I had a nominal interest, I guess, in WWE at that point because I was watching TNA at that time, and Cena to me was just like, it was the John Cena show.
Yeah.
Starring him, Randy Orton, and Edge. And occasionally Batista when he felt like coming back and doing something. But to me, like, I'm done with Cena. Like, I'm glad he had his whole going out tour or whatever. Good for him, but they got a lot to go do at this point in order to repair the damage that main event did.
Yeah. So overall grade, we both gave it a C plus.
Yeah.
Individually, we gave it a C plus.
We gave I gave a B plus to NXT, but I gave it.
Yeah, I gave an A to NXT. I thought NXT blew all of WrestleMania out of the water, quite frankly.
Yeah.
As a whole, there were great matches. The Women's World Championship match, the 4-way IC Championship. There's a half.
The title match was good.
Got to the U.S. Championship. The Sin City Street Fight. Even Rollin Reigns and Punk did a good job. But that's like less than half of
it. Was all over the place.
It was, and most of it was bad. So, I don't know. It was not the worst WrestleMania.
No.
But far from the best.
No. It was I think part of its problem is it had to follow up last year's WrestleMania.
Yeah, and last year was...
I'm not saying it was the best card overall, but it had that Cody story trying to go.
That was beautiful. That was excellently done. So anyway, okay. So I got 11 right on my predictions, and Dan got 16. So I was going to bring my little fake plastic crown over you and crown you, but I forgot to bring it. So good job. You are the bestest at predicting WWE storylines.
Prize.
Here.
I
guess a K95.
I'm the champion.
Ta-da! You look like you're about to ready to serve me a milkshake.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a one-man show of The Handmaid's Tale. Myself.
So anyway, that was, do you want to talk about the roast tonight since it's getting later? Do you want to wait until Friday? We can talk about the roast.
Let's go with a good one. I guess there were other, we didn't watch the Hall of Fame.
No.
No. I was like over 3 hours. That sounds like another card altogether when people were just talking.
Yeah. And we went over the Hall of Fame stuff on Friday.
Yeah,
so
I might take a look at like some of it down the road, but I don't feel like it right now. If anybody wants to tell me I should look up, please let me know. If
there's any parts that you recommend.
The other part was Tony Hinchcliffe apparently was heading a roast.
That was a roast that was not televised, that no one was allowed to record, and is not available anywhere. And to be quite frank, there is very little of what was being said online, or what was being said in the roast that I found online. Because I was looking today, and my camera won't turn off, and so Tony Hinchcliffe is a piece of shit who likes to make fun of
it's my door.
Everyone, pretty much.
I don't, like, here's the thing.
And so, okay. Thanks to Speckles on Twitter. Speckles, thank you. I took some screenshots of this. They got kicked out after it was discovered that they were trying to record. There were no recording devices allowed. This roast will never see the light of day, probably because Tony Hinchcliffe is a racist piece of shit. All right, so Speckles says, Tony Hinchcliffe just said, and I quote, "I heard they bought AAA just to check. That dump isn't in Puerto Rico, right?" And then somebody replied, "No way he did." And they replied, "Unfortunately, yeah. Some of these jokes are crazy." Tony mentioned Penta and asked Penta. Penta's an interesting name. I would have named him Chief Bean. What the fuck does that even mean? And then, in follow-up to that, they said, I went to record in my pocket and got kicked out. I'm sorry, guys. The last thing I heard was Tony talking indirectly about Chris Benoit, saying something about how, quote, "I heard you can't mention Benoit in this company. I don't know why. He seems to be hanging around a lot in your history." I mean, to paraphrase Paul Heyman, fuck Chris Benoit and everything he did. But still, that's pretty crass and fucked up.
Here's the thing, like, I'm I don't mind good roast comedy. Like I like the old Dean Martin stuff.
Yeah.
Was really good.
Jeffrey Ross, great roast comedian.
Yeah. This thing he did with David Tell dumping mics was excellent. I don't have a problem with people taking the piss out of things.
Oh yeah, hell, Don Rickles.
Yeah.
It doesn't get realer than Don Rickles.
There's a point though with Hinchcliffe. He's not talented to start off with.
No, he's not.
He's not good, and he sits there and basically just relies on
shock value. I guess
to be nice, to be kind,
and
extremely kind,
and the bigotry of his audience apparently. So and he got booed when they put the camera on him last night. I think it was. He got booed by the audience. Suck it. And also when he was on commentary, he got booed, and it went over basically like, well, it didn't go over very well. When he was on commentary a couple of weeks ago, I think that's why they decided not to televise it or make it available, because they knew it was going to be a train wreck. Which is why we wanted to watch it, because it was going to be a train wreck.
Yeah. Apparently there were some other people on there, like Nia Jax, Sami Zayn.
Yeah. Paul Heyman was there.
Apparently the Paul Heyman was the only one that was... I heard good things about. Apparently, he was floored everybody there, and apparently
the Miz was there.
Apparently, Triple H closed the things out.
Yeah. And apparently, Sami Zayn didn't have a problem with Tony Hinchcliffe making jokes about his friend's neck injury. Doesn't seem very cool. Apparently, that happened. They're making fun of Charlotte's face, which. Well, we kind of beat him to it last week.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good. She has to fire her plastic surgeon.
I feel like with Charlotte Flair, like I'm a little more like worried. Like
like I'm not gonna make fun of her. I'm a little bit worried about what she's doing to herself. Like,
and apparently from interviews, like she says she's coming off from her marriage dissolving and several other issues. And I feel like this is the worst time for you to come back.
Yeah.
Don't deal with yourself and then come back when you are able to work with others. That didn't feel like you were able to work with others.
It felt like that match was just like, it felt like she's, I don't know, the worst version of herself. Mm-hmm. But anyway, there's someone else on Twitter, Sister Serotonin, made an interesting point. So the no phones allowed rule at the WrestleMania roasting is so funny because that demographic is so pro-free speech when they want to be Nazi adjacent and bigoted. But if you want to document their bigotry, suddenly that's not allowed. And that is a really interesting point. And also, it's been a troubling phenomenon. I know that, Vince and Linda McMahon have been in with Donald Trump for decades. And, Linda McMahon is obviously the head of the Department of Education, and Trump is in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. China's not, but Donald Trump is. Anyway, and it's been, I've noticed, especially the last year or so, that the right-wingness, the conservativeness has been pretty hard to ignore, and it's a little upsetting. I don't like it. I like WWE, and I want to continue watching them, but quite frankly, it's not good to see where it's going. And where it's going is fascist adjacent, bigotry adjacent. Roman Reigns coming out, Triple H talking up Trump. It's hiring this guy and pretending, keeping it behind closed doors. It's worrying. I don't like it, and I feel kind of gross for continuing to support WWE, quite frankly. I want to because
not everyone
there is on the same page.
No.
But
I feel I want to support the people on there that not necessarily of that ilk.
Yeah.
But it's getting more difficult being with the higher ups. Like Dana White is with the UFC and is a partner there, and he's a piece of shit.
He got booed too, though.
Yeah, Roman Reigns' recent and
Yeah.
Triple H's recent comments are disconcerting to be the least.
Yes.
Again, it's like I know, even though The Rock is like quote unquote Republican and stuff like that, like I'm not sure that he's Trump adjacent or not.
I don't think he likes Trump, but I think for the sake of the company, he's avoiding it.
Yeah, he's avoiding
which
the
is
topic.
also pretty gross because it's like, dude's beyond flirting with fascism. He's fascism light. Okay, so it would be helpful if you could say something if you don't like it instead of just running away with your tail between your legs.
It's all money involved, and right now the money for them is
The money is
people who support Trump. So, and again, that part sucks. So, like on the other side, I guess you have like AEW that's at least have people in their audience are holding up trans flags and pride flags,
and that's awesome.
And that's especially something that historically has at least a homophobic, like professional wrestling has a homophobic element. At least since I've been watching it.
Yeah, but I mean, I've given them a lot of credit in the past, in the past few years, for kind of abandoning this toxic masculinity that they had for a long time, especially like the 80s, the Attitude Era. And, there are men, hugging in the ring, apologizing for things that they've done wrong to people, having therapy sessions and talking out their issues, calmly. It was very much like tamping down, doing away with toxic masculinity. And like in the past year or so, it feels like there's been less of that and a lot more bad stuff.
I think the moving away from the toxic masculinity thing was best reflected. There was a Maven was interviewing guys from Maximum Male Models. It was like, what is like considered like ribbing and backstage jazz. Like, we're just playing like trash talking each other, playing video games.
Yeah.
And then Maven was like, wow.
And Maven was like,
they put like,
what the hell's wrong with you guys?
They put like dog shit in a bag and put it in your gym bag, or would go and if you did something shitty, you had to go buy drinks. I mean, it's just something that the other people considered shitty. They make them buy drinks for everybody, or like some sort of receipt in the ring. As I was like, I was like, no, we don't do that anymore. Yeah. That seems pretty ridiculous.
No, they're right. It does, and it's nice to see that they're kind of moving away from that. But
and I think like the toxic masculinity, the more like men being in touch with their feelings and stuff like that. Like I guess like angles with guys like Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens or Jey Uso. I think the whole bloodline thing was a great indicator of that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I haven't noticed that that's gone away with this recent sort of push towards Trump's dictatorship.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that it probably will. And I am kind of sad to see that because I like that aspect of it. Anyway, what do you think? Do you think we're good? It's 5:30.
Yeah.
We've been talking for a while.
I think we're going to check out, but before we go, we are going to start a new, program?
Yeah, a new, we're going to do another, it's sort of a different show that's specifically about wrestling. We're going to be doing it on Friday afternoons at 4, probably.
Yeah.
Where it's going to be a wrestling supplemental, Ballistic Missionaries wrestling supplemental.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of keep this
shorter and more to the point.
Yeah, and not just WWE. We watch a lot of AEW too. We don't watch a lot of TNA. We're going to have to start watching TNA. And just talking about what's new and what's happening in the world of pro wrestling. And this show is going to be more going back to a regular format, just with, topics du jour, talking about news, talking about what stupid thing the Trump administration did this week.
Wow.
And it's going to be Fridays. It's going to be all about wrestling. So if you are a wrestling fan, make sure you come watch us Fridays at 4.
Yeah. And if you want to support us, please go to our various. Go to my website, www.21sandshard.com. Please go to our merch stores. Please pick up our merch. it greatly helps out us in general
Yes.
and this channel in
Yes.
particular.
Very much so. But yep. I think that's all for today.
I think we're done. Thank
Yep.
you for
Thanks, guys.
51 viewer for going through all the.
Sorry about the internet issues. Couldn't be helped, but
I also want to thank Kaz because
yes,
if you're seeing us with this vastly improved audio and
video, yeah.
it's because of
See if I can. This is. Nope, that's the frog. Okay, there it is. There's our new video mic. Our friend Kaz gave us for. Well, specifically Twitch broadcasting.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Kaz. You are a lifesaver.
Automatically, our video is like 1,000%.
Oh my God!
better.
Yes, yes. Well, you guys have seen other episodes. It was bad.
Yeah.
So going forward, we'll no more camera issues. Hopefully.
Our big thing is the internet now.
Yeah, now we have to figure out what the hell's going on with the internet. Hopefully it was just a couple of hiccups, but anyway, all right. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night.